This is Movies, the podcast about the act of cinema. I'm Hans, and LowRes is a little sick today. He's not going to be able to join us, but thankfully I'm joined by one of my favorite guests of the show, Jerry Jensen. Jerry, how are you?
That's so nice of you to say. Especially because I know that you're actually in like a pissed off mood, and you just turned it on so well. You were a second ago. You're like, "Fuck, I'm mad about this thing."
Yeah.
Welcome to Movies, a podcast that the act of cinema. Here's my best friend, coolest guy in the world, Jerry, which I appreciate you saying.
Yeah, I'm a little, when you wake up from a nap and you're like a little shaky, but you don't know why, and you're just angry.
Oh yeah,
that's kind of where I'm at. But
I, I've cut back nicotine. I'm gonna say that as I'm like smoking on camera, but I've cut back my overall nicotine intake significantly, and I went like a full day, no cigarette, no Zyn, no vape, none of that shit. When I woke up the next day, I don't even remember what happened. I think my fiance was like moving a basket at 6 in the morning, which is a totally normal time for anybody to wake up at my house. That's not early. And I was like,
right.
you fucking bitch. It is 6 a.m. when everybody is already awake and I have things to do in an hour. How dare you? She's like, what the fuck is your problem? Sorry. I'm sleep angry and no nicotine. That's my bad. I should kill you though.
Does it really? I mean, I've never been able to take nicotine. Like I'm that much of a puss. Where when I turned 18, I bought myself a pack of cigarettes and I had like maybe half of it, and I was like, no, I never want this feeling again. This feels awful. But I know that, I mean, you are one of the people that I know that can function with that shit, and it's just, yeah, I can't, not my thing at all. Like I can do some weed. I can do, I mean, that's it, pretty pretty much. But like nicotine, I feel like always, every time I've done it, which is mostly, when you have a couple of drinks in and you're out, and your friends are smoking a cigarette, and you're like, oh, let me have a hit of that, and then you regret
Yeah.
it immediately. But
I don't know that part.
but does it like calm you down, or like, because that's the thing. Every time I've smoked a cigarette, I've felt awful and I've wanted to die, and I just get shaky, and I cold sweats, and feeling like I want to throw up. So obviously you don't get that feeling, or like most people don't, and that's why
Well,
they
no,
keep
it's
coming back, right?
I'm partially chasing that dragon, right? Like when the first time I smoked cigarettes, I don't know, 12, 13 years old, something like that. And that's how it was. I was like fucking sweating and dizzy and I didn't feel good. I've been chasing that. Like I smoked for 15 years and then I quit for 3 years. And when I smoked one cigarette, like you said, drunk at the bar with some of my coworkers, and somebody had a cigarette and I was like, let me hit that. I hit it and I felt nauseous and I was a little bit like, dizzy in my head. Things are a little bit fuzzy. And I was thinking, this is amazing. But I don't think cigarettes even work on me. Like I don't think nicotine is what's making my stress level go down. Because usually, let's say I'm out somewhere, something happens. I don't know. I'm releasing a movie in the city, and some dude is just being a dickhead to me for no reason. If I go smoke a cigarette, that's not what calms me down. What calms me down is like getting away from the dickhead. I just happen to also be smoking. So I don't even nicotine might do that for some people, but I'm probably just running on fucking I need nicotine for my heart to know that it exists. I've like turned it into an addiction for my actual anatomy
Right.
and it's a good excuse to get away from motherfuckers.
But when you say you're chasing that feeling of like that awful feeling that I just that I just
Yeah,
talked
yeah,
about, like,
I would kill
why?
for you met the time that you smoked a cigarette for fucking Mass State Lottery. I would kill for that one time to like hit a cigarette and get that nicotine sick and just be fucking keeled over from it because it just doesn't do. I don't get like an impact from smoking, a cigarette or doing a Zen like some people do whenever you're fairly new to it. Like I gave my 58-year-old friend a 15 milligram fucking Zen pouch, is a really high, nearly 3 times the average. And he immediately got sick. I was like, man, if only that was me.
I don't know. That sounds awful to me. I mean, I was there, right? I was in that state for like an hour and a half, for maybe way longer than I should have. And I can imagine, like wanting that feeling. And my when my ex was living here with me, one time she went on a trip for work and she left a pack of cigarettes here. And I had nothing. I didn't even have alcohol and I was broke and I was like, I want to feel a little something. Let me smoke a cigarette and just so that I can at least feel dizzy. And no, it's for like an hour. I was just in bed, just like rolling around, trying to make the stomach pain go away, and nothing would help. So I can imagine being in that being so fucked up that that you're searching for that feeling because it's a good feeling, you know?
Yeah, yeah. It's like whenever you 30-year long alcoholics go to the fucking doctor, the doctor's like, you can't quit drinking because
Mm.
your organs, they believe it's necessary now. Like it's not, but your organs think it is, you'll die. That's pretty much how I am with nicotine. Is I probably am not having any type of positive reaction to it. It's not changing. I'm not like less stressed out, more relaxed, right?
Right.
It's literally just that my lungs are like, I need a fucking cigarette or I'll kill myself. And I'm just like, okay, I got you, dude. Don't worry. I got
Yeah.
you guys.
It's like I'm feeling healthy. I hate this feeling.
I
But
have a great segue of feeling that I had for an hour and a half that was bad was every second of watching The Toxic Avenger,
okay.
which is the movie that you wanted us to watch for this episode. I
Yes.
actually, that's not a dragon I'm chasing. I would much rather be fucking nicotine sick. I know. I would rather be blackout drunk puking in Mexico. I wish I would have drank Mexican tap water and just a gallon of tequila. And I woke up inside of a fucking a freezer with a scar across my stomach. I'm missing organs. That is more pleasurable than any trauma film in the history of trauma films. Holy fuck, dude.
Listen, I'm not a fan at all. I think that's an opinion that I've shared on this show multiple times where I feel like trauma is it exists in a weird space where whenever you're watching one of their movies, you're like, oh, you could try a little bit harder on literally everything. But then they're also doing too much at the same time. So then it's just like a weird mix of this is completely unwatchable, and I'm kind of okay with watching this. But I feel like this is probably the least offensive one that I've seen. I think every other trauma movie that I've seen has been way worse than this one. Way hornier, which is not a problem, but I feel like trauma uses horniness like and this is something that I mentioned in a couple of episodes, recent episodes when we've talked about mumblecore, where to
Mhm.
me mumblecore is just your dork friend that's horny and just wants to be in a movie with being horny with his girlfriend that he won't, you know, tell that he likes her or whatever. But it's like, oh, it's a movie, so hey, let's pretend that we're fucking. But my penis is actually hard, and you're actually touching it. But we're just pretending.
Yeah. Like your
Uh,
boyfriend shouldn't get mad about this, right?
exactly, yeah. Trauma is just like, oh, and we're I don't know at a cafe, and then on the corner there's someone sucking on titties for no reason at all, just because we wanted to show tits, right? And I mean, fine if you're a teenager that gets off to that. I would have loved this type of movie when I was a teenager and when before the
Yeah.
internet. But but as an adult, it's just kind of like, okay, like it's just unnecessary. And I mean, they all exist on like its own universe, so I guess it makes sense that everything is so cartoony and so over the top. But it just to me, it just always feels like, oh, you could have tried a little harder and this would be good. This would
Well,
be decent at least. Yeah.
look, and so I got to preface this, and because this is it's really gay to preface this, but I'm gonna preface this that I respect the fact that DIY filmmaking, which is what especially Toxic Avenger, the trauma films are, these DIY filmmaking. Um, and what's the guy's name? I have it here. Lloyd Kaufman.
Look up. Yeah.
These guys, they created, he had like, what's his name, Chris Hertz,
Sure.
the other dude, the other trauma guy, Michael Hertz, that's it. um
Okay.
they gave people the confidence to DIY their own films, right? We definitely, Peter Jackson would not have made movies if he didn't see accessibility in trauma. And all of the accessibility shit is cool, right? So when we go and we watch the original Toxic Avenger and they run that kid's head over very early on. It's like one of the first things that happens.
Yeah.
That's literally just a fucking watermelon with a wig on it,
Mhm.
right? And they, film it a little dark, no one can tell. That shit is cool.
Yeah.
Every fucking thing else sucks, and it they don't translate to now. This is something when you said like, oh, maybe I would have liked it as a kid. If I was 35 or I'm about to be 37, I don't know why I made myself younger in the analogy. If I
If it
was
was a year younger than I am
if it was yesterday,
now.
30 years ago, if I was the same age as I am now, right, in 1988, and I saw Toxic Avenger, I probably would have been into it because these trauma films come out at a time when so Christian censorship, right,
Mhm.
rules modern media. Okay, anything that would show like a child dying, women committing fucking acts of violence, right? That shit hardly is in any
Right.
film,
Mhm.
and I understand in that context it's cool. It's cool. They killed a kid. The one of the women, she's not just a bad guy. She's like a vile, disgusting. Two of the
Yeah.
women, they're fucking horrible, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
You see some tits. Fucking, there's gore. They swear a lot. That stuff in that context is fine.
Mhm.
Removed from it though, when genuinely, and I don't mean to just say this because Peter Dinklage, but the first episode of Game of Thrones has a guy get his head cut off. I think you see a guy's balls from behind in one of the first few episodes, and you see some tits. The same staples of trauma are
Mhm.
common in media nowadays. So then when you make a remake of it, it's just crass and boring. The thing that stood out the most was the swearing, which I don't give a fuck about swearing. I swear more than fucking anybody I know. I cuss at my kids, right?
Yeah.
The swearing is so fucking try hard in this goddamn film. It doesn't feel like this is how people talk. It feels like people sitting around saying that let's make sure he says fuck or shit
Yeah.
or
Mhm.
bitch or they cuss at each other here. And it does nothing in 2025. Sure, in 1988, you would have been like, oh my God, the language. What the hell are
Yeah.
you showing the kids? But now it's like, who gives a fuck about that? The fuck?
Yeah, it's weird too because at the time this was like what the opposite of like a 16 Candles movie, right?
Yeah.
Like a high school what's his name? What's
John
the
Hughes.
John Hughes movie, right? I guess I
Yeah.
because most of the trauma happened in what university or like it's all having young people be
Mhm.
reckless, right?
Well, it's their direct answer to those, both the horror genre and the young adult, I guess like rom com genre.
Right. And those feel out of place now. If you watch a 16 Candles, now it's kind of like, oh, well, that's not what my experience was growing up. Well, not even just saying me coming from a, a foreign country, but things that have changed so much in 20 years that it
I
just
watched
it feels weird when it's normal, but when you see something like this where it's so completely over the top and unnatural, it's worse. And it's kind of it makes it very difficult to give a fuck about the movie, you know? And that's my
yeah,
biggest issue with trauma that like if I don't see effort, if I see that there's shortcuts taken, then my attention to or my intention of wanting to care about what's happening on screen goes away because you can tell that they were putting very little effort. So why would I put any effort into watching it?
sure.
And that's what happens with most trauma movies with me.
Well, I feel like so I kind of give like a buffer zone for my hatred, right? When it comes to a trauma film. I say it is part of the culture of these films to be overacted. It is
Mhm.
part of the culture of these films to drive a car up and turn the headlights on, and that's your fucking lighting. Like I get that that's part of the DIY process, but really quickly you see like these guys probably had the access to the equipment to do things good. They probably one or two films in Los Angeles, mind you, in 1990, you could probably find a few actors that
Mhm.
I guarantee, because this happens all the time. You see some fucking weird ass movie from 1990 and you're like, I know that guy's in a different film. That guy was on a TV show. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you see actors from shitty B movies. And there's a bunch of people that did get their starts in trauma and
Mhm.
credit to them. But the it's so ingrained to be that shitty, to be that like you said, cutting corners in the culture of trauma, that after one or two films, from my perspective, like you said, it's just laziness. It's like you don't care, and the audience is actually they're saying, "Oh, you know what, we're gonna let this slide because
Mhm.
well, that's how they've always been." And it's like, okay, if you've always had a giant dude come in your bedroom and fuck you in the ass, you don't go, well, you know what? I think I'm just going to let it keep happening when you have an opportunity to make it stop, right? When somebody shows up and says, here's a shotgun, you don't go, I don't need the shotgun. I'm going to let the big guy come fuck me in the ass every day. No, you
Yeah.
take the shotgun and you shoot him when he comes to fuck you in the ass. They could have shot every bad thing dead before it fucks you in the ass with these films, but they don't. They don't care because it's part of this greater culture. And I've always felt that trauma horror fans are the worst version of horror fans. Horror fans
Mhm.
fucking suck.
Yeah.
But trauma fans, for some fucking reason, they think that this shit is good. That it should be really an event. Like when you go watch Toxic Avenger, you go to a theater, much like Rocky Horror Picture Show. You go to a theater, you dress up, right? You guys cheer when certain kills happen. That already sucks. When you do a fucking remake of it, and you have good actors like Kevin Bacon and Elijah Wood, and they also are just fucking phoning it. I mean, well, actually, I think Elijah Wood fucking killed it. Honestly, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
Elijah Wood was fucking
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind this the remake as much as the original one, and I think it's mostly because it actually has a visual style to it. And that's another thing with Trauma. They all look the same. Like they all
Mhm.
have the same flat lighting, the same. Who cares about scene composition and who cares about blocking? Who cares about any filmmaking stuff? With this one, you have Macon Blair, who's a pretty good filmmaker and who's also in the movie. I think the had a pretty good cameo as like the chubby roommate that shows up at the end of the movie with Lloyd
Oh
Kaufman.
yeah.
Actually, that's the director. And uh, I I didn't mind it as much. I think I'm not a huge fan of Peter Dinklage. I think he just annoys me as a person more than an actor because he's a great actor. But I just the fact that he's fucked that community so much after being the most successful since what's his name from Star Wars from
Are you saying
Willow.
Warwick Davis?
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that was like the biggest. That was like the biggest little actor, right? Before this guy came, unless you want to count fucking Wee Man or Hornswoggle. But in this one,
Or the guy from Bad Santa.
oh
I
yeah,
don't
the
even
black
remember
guy,
his name. Yeah, I don't even remember his
the
name.
black little guy. I couldn't tell you.
The black little guy.
I mean, that's the one they use, really. I wonder if he's still alive. Well, that's why whenever we're in public in America and I see one and I'm like, oh my God, they make little Indian ones. And you guys are always like, why are you, why are you noticing these things? It's like, I've never seen Down syndrome Indian person. And then I see one and I have to point it out. I'm autistic.
Like,
Uh,
wow,
well,
unicorn.
they make them that color. Yeah. But for this one, I don't know. I at first when I saw the leaks of the way that the monster looked, I was like, oh, okay, looks kind of action figure-y, plasticky. But then in action, I didn't mind the suit as much. I thought it was actually kind of cool how his eye popped out and it was used as like a prop or whatever, and like how the what do you call it? The not a broom, the
Mop.
fucking the mop. Like it's
Yeah.
like a cool weapon that I think is more of a factor than the original one. I don't think that he uses it that much in the original, but in this one, it's like a good way of showing digital gore that, I wish it wasn't digital gore, but at least I like the fact that they went creative with it. The kills are
Yeah.
creative at least, even though, you're gonna get fake
Well,
electronic blood there.
so I think the opposite. I think that I didn't enjoy the kills necessarily. Some of them were fine. They're all fine, right? They don't really even look that bad. They look 3D modeled. They don't look great, but
Yeah.
they could look a lot fucking worse. My thing was it all feels very forced. Like I said with this where they're cussing, the cussing feels implanted. Obviously you have a film, you're gonna write this guy kills this guy this way, he breaks his head open with the mop and his brain
Right.
is exposed and he starts to puke. But in seeing it, it's another one of those times that it just feels very try hard. Like when he pulls the guy, eat your beard, and he pulls the guy's
Oh yeah.
beard and then he puts it in his mouth, and the guy's alive. His chin is hurts and he
Yeah.
has some hair in his mouth. Okay. Like I don't know. To me, those things feel very much like a millennial writing room, right? Like a Rick and Morty esque millennial writing room.
It's a weird choice to remake something like this. It's I mean, it's not capital, is that the right word, capitalizing? Yeah, on the superhero craze, because that's done, right? That's pretty
Mhm.
much dead again. It's also a property that, sure, it's recognizable, and I think in the early 90s it even had like a short running cartoon. And I think
Yeah,
even
yeah,
like
the Toxic Commandos or something.
yeah, Crusaders, I think it was.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Something like that, yeah. And even a video game, if I'm not mistaken, for either Super Nintendo or like one of those early consoles. But it's not a mainstream it's not something that you can just throw in like a normie conversation and it's like, hey, you guys familiar with Toxic Avenger? Because no. So to me, just the fact that they wanted to remake this very obscure, very, let's call it punk rock property, where because that's my big issue with punk rock stuff too, that I feel like a lot of the time it's very lazy and that's used as like, no, well, it's supposed to be raw, so we're just gonna do first take and then that's it, and whatever we get, that's cool. And a lot of the time it's just like, you can just do it again and do it better, and it doesn't matter
Right.
if it's punk rock, you can do it good. So I was expecting to hate it more. I guess maybe I was just in the right mindset. I hated the first one. I hated the original. There were so many things that annoyed me. And at the same time, I was trying to look at it with the mentality of, it's a trauma movie. So you're not getting a real movie. You're not getting a real story. You're not getting much of a character or anything other than a cartoonish, one-dimensional character. I do think that it has more elements that I'm interested in than on the second one, like the blind girlfriend that is hot, but she doesn't care about that he's the fact that he's deformed, just because like he's the only one that care for her in the whole city. And
Uh-huh.
that's an element that's not brought into this. Like they
Well,
switch
it's
that,
called back.
they switch it to the boy, right? So instead of having like a love interest, instead he has a kid to care for now.
Mhm.
And they hint at it when Toxie's in that, I think it's like a cafe or like a restaurant, because there's a blind lady there, right?
Yeah, yeah. That's
But then
it's a callback.
it's a callback, but then they don't do anything with it. I was like, oh, so I guess that, okay, so they're gonna make her the love interest, and not every movie needs to have a love interest, but it's weird to me because this one specifically has a love interest that
Yeah,
makes up
yeah.
that has a point, right? The point
Yeah.
is, the one person that's not judging the way he looks like, it's because she's blind, and but at the same time she's hot, so she attracts regular people, but she's not it. That whole thing. I think there's something there, and that doesn't become an element into this movie at all. Like the whole thing is about Peter Dinklage getting some type of mysterious cancer that is incurable, and then wanting to survive for his kid. And then you bring a couple of so you have that female character that doesn't really do anything other than just being a callback as like, well, I'm the blind woman. And then you have the other sidekick, I guess you can call, which is this other younger girl, but she's also not much of a factor in the movie. So then adding her felt kind of weird because she's like the revolutionary, like the one that wants to go against the company that's fucking up the
Sure.
town, right? But
Mhm.
then she kind of disappears and becomes a not non-factor at the end, which makes sense because he has all the superpowers and everything. So I don't know. I felt like that change from being uh horny loser, horny loser, what do you call it? Like a cleaning guy. I don't whatever the fucking word is. To you know, uh, caring father with a mom.
loving loving stepdad. Well,
Yeah, and your kid hates you for most of the movie until he just
the
doesn't
they
because
they they made
you
the
know.
girl is the daughter of the original Toxic Avenger character, Merv Ferd or whatever the fuck. She was like, my dad's name was but whatever for Mervyn Ferdin or
Melvin,
whatever the fuck,
Yeah,
Melvin Ferd or whatever.
yeah.
So she's supposed to be that dude's daughter, which okay, whatever. I don't know why you even said that to me right now. It's not that's not happening in the movie. You know what I mean? It's not this isn't she doesn't this is a terrible reference, but it's not even like a little kid going into the closet and seeing fucking Venkman's jumpsuit and being like, "Oh my god, my grandpa was the Ghostbusters" or whatever the fuck. It's literally she's a journo or works with a journo, but
Mhm.
maybe also a revolutionary, not part of the plot for a while. Back in the movie, info dumps off camera, thankfully, because I saw the movie. I don't need you to tell me about the movie. But
Yeah.
info dumps to the kid, goes away again, comes back, and by the time she comes back to work with the toxic Avenger, he then immediately goes up on stage, kills a bunch of people in a concert, and then goes, "Hey, the bad guy is the bad guy, and the plot of the movie is happening," which is her job. Her
Yep.
job from the first thing the guy says is like, "Here's the plot of the movie. Take it and tell everybody about it." And she's like, "Okay, I'm gonna fucking do that." Never even fucking tries to do that after the event where she spills the goo or whatever the fuck.
Right,
Never
right.
does any of that again. Just helps the Toxic Avenger. He goes on fucking TV, says the bad guy's the bad guy, and the plot of the movie is happening. Her job is done, but then she's still in it. And a fight scene at the end, Kevin Bacon dead or whatever. There's the turd where fucking the fuck I can't remember her name. She's in a bunch of bullshit British shows. She's there, she's got a fucking stick and she's gonna stick somebody or whatever the fuck. And this is where the girl she finally becomes useful in the whole movie. She goes, "Hey," and saying hey to an adult woman distracts her. She can no longer fight the person she's fighting. Huh? Triggered by sound and goes and attacks her. They blow up. Movie ends. The fuck am I watching? Like, I
Yeah.
get, again, when I'm watching this in the original one and it's 1988, I get that you maybe had like $30 to make an explosion. So you made an explosion. You don't care how you get there. You just want the audience to see an explosion. I just followed this girl's shitty plot line all the way up to her finally doing something. And she goes, "Hey." And then again, the Toxic Avenger actually does the thing that she was trying to fucking do, which is save the day. Completely useless fucking character. Just there. And while also supplementing, like you said, the relationship aspect with this stepson fucking storyline that again feels so fucking forced. I don't believe for a second that the Winston character, fuck Peter Dinklage, but the actual Winston character gives a fuck about his stepson. I just
Yeah.
don't.
Yeah, yeah. There's no, I mean, there's nothing. They don't really give you any type of like moment that shows you that
Well,
he loves his
your
dad.
your mom
Yeah,
used to play
that.
music. She actually sucked. She actually was really bad at music, but like I'm telling you, dude, she was fucking she was remember and yeah,
Yeah.
fucking rock on, dude.
Well, it
That
was.
oh,
Did you? Why? You didn't like that moment when he goes, where he lifts his fist, and then the black girl is like, "No, like don't do that," and he goes,
no,
"Oh,
this
oh,
I'll puke on my own fucking cock, dude. This
That's
is
what that's
got
what I mean.
fucking
Like the punk rock shit, right? It's just like it's mall punk rock that you're getting with this, right? I
yeah.
saw a couple of reviews that were very positive on it. And again, it comes down to that horror movie fans are the worst. But it was like, oh, this Technicolor punk rock, blah blah blah, and it's like, okay, it's punk rock because it's telling you it is. You know, it's punk rock
Right.
because it's giving you is giving you all the signs of oh, there's a guy wearing leather, and he's wearing a mask, and and they're rowdy and they say fuck a lot,
Yeah.
and yeah, it all just felt hollow. And again, I don't understand why this would be something that you want to remake or bring to a new audience when this only exists in that universe, in that audience. It's not really like a crossover property that anyone would care about. And
And
I think that showed with the fact that I think supposedly came out in 2023, right? In some festival. And I guess they just dumped this on streaming or something. I mean, I was able to get it in questionable means, but I think it's not like widely available, or it wasn't for a couple of years because there's just no audience for it.
well, even so, it's made in part, at least as far as distribution goes, by Bloody Disgusting,
Right.
which, yeah, I mean, that checks out. Bloody Disgusting would love to be able to fucking remake and re-release every fucking horror film that's ever existed, to and judge them up for a modern audience, right? And and just to be completely candid, fuck every single person that works for Bloody Disgusting.
Yep.
Fuck you guys. You
Mhm.
guys are a bunch of fucking dweebs. I genuinely hope that, your mother forgets your name when she gets deep in her Alzheimer's. And every day you have to remind her that you're her son. I hate you. You are a bad person. I just want that put out into the world.
I don't disagree. I feel like that website does more bad than good. I think it shouldn't
Yes.
exist. I think it's a danger to people's psyches because they're exposed to a lot of garbage presented as it's good. Oh, isn't this wonderful? This new low budget movie that's about Popeye and how he kills people. Hey, this new Winnie the Pooh movie is so good because he kills. Fuck you.
I I get that we're already talking about products, right? But the extended commodification of horror content fucking blows my mind. And not because I think that, oh, it needs to be this fringe side thing. It's just, to me, I like watching the movie Alien, right?
Mm.
I don't then need to go buy alien toys. I don't need to do that. And Blade of Disgusting,
What do you need?
as
You don't need a face hugger plushie to put next
I
to your
don't.
bed.
I fucking
Ah,
don't. I say that I have a Gandalf. I have a Gandalf plushie right behind me. But nonetheless, I think that what Bloody Disgusting does, and not just by themselves, right? I would point the finger at a lot of other forums and message boards, right? Is they turn what used to be a counterculture and a subculture into a pseudo mainstream ideology, more or less, right? That these horror films that usually are B movies, right? You would see them on something like fucking Best of the Worst, and you'd be like, "Oh, I remember, I saw this movie one time." They turned that shit into, it has to be good because, oh well, it's DIY. It has to be good because, oh well, fucking Tom Savini made all the rubber masks for it. And the reality is that most of these properties are fucking bullshit and garbage, and they're getting a extra breath breathed into them, extra breath of life, excuse me, breathed into them 30 years later, and they might be fine to watch one time, but they are propped up in such a way that you almost have to say they're good, or else somebody who 100% goes and reads Bloody Disgusting articles will be like, well, you just don't appreciate horror. Like, motherfucker, it's Chopping Mall. I don't give a fuck. It's like kind of a shit. I watched it for fun. I know it.
yeah,
It sucks.
yeah.
You
It's
cannot
great.
convince me it's good.
It's great because it sucks. Like
Yeah.
it's it's a really weird thing that they have been doing for years on that website where Just because something is a genre that you enjoy doesn't mean that it's faultless or that you can't criticize it or that all of a sudden you think the genre is I think the horror genre is bullshit, and I've been disillusioned with it. The older I grow, the more garbage I see, the more that I question why did I ever like this shit. And I think it's mostly because nowadays it's taken as like a serious genre that should be, always, even if it's a movie that makes no sense and it's really stupid and it's a horror movie, so we have to support
Mm.
this very niche community that's full of misfits, and that's not it anymore.
No.
That's how it started. That's where, yeah, the origins of the horror genre are, with the weirdos, with like the creeps, the horny creepy guy in the corner of your classroom that nobody wanted to talk to. Yeah, he came up with all these stories because of that, because rejection,
Because they didn't have
But
any friends. Well,
exactly. So,
think
but when you change that, and you make it mainstream, and you have pretty people in it and big actors, and the movie's sanitized, and it has zero edge, and it just has like a modern sheen to it, because it's just clean and pretty, and it's just like, this is not horror anymore. What
I
am I
mean,
getting sold here?
to exactly what you're saying, when Kevin Bacon turns into a monster, he's a werewolf with Kevin Bacon's face. When Peter Dinklage gets turned into a monster, it's literally indistinguishable. You can't, that's not Peter Dinklage. It's, yeah,
It's
a small
green.
guy, but
Yeah.
he's wearing a full thing. The better looking, more famous guy still got his whole fucking face in the goddamn. That's why I like Elijah Wood, because while it's obviously Elijah Wood, he looks completely fucked and plays a fucked off character, right? Where Kevin Bacon is sexy and fucking, movie cool or whatever the fuck. And you can clearly see it's Kevin Bacon for the entire film, because this isn't a 1980s DIY trauma film. This is a 2023 action comedy built on the foundation of a horror movie. It used to be a horror. This is the exact same as that fucking movie Cocaine Bear. It's not this. These are not horror films. They're not. They are low action gore films. That their whole point of the movie is just to show you somebody getting fucked up by a bear, just to show you somebody getting, shot in the chest and some ooze comes out of it. That is doesn't even qualify as body trauma, because it's so removed from the human experience that it doesn't make you squirm or anything. It's not like cutting somebody's ear off with a straight razor in fucking Pulp Fiction and having you be like, oh my god, that's fucking terrible.
Right.
I cringe more at that, even the idea of that, right? As opposed to anything you would see in this fucking film, because this film is not meant to shock you in any fucking way like a horror film is meant to. That's why the the most popular horror films of the age are just, what are you waving at me for?
Let's just hold on. Let's stop.
I remember exactly where I was, and I shall continue as if it's completely seamless. The most
Hold
popular.
on. No, let me acknowledge
Why?
it. I want to acknowledge it. This is LowRes's fault. He's probably not gonna listen to this. If he does, then good. No, he is gonna listen to this. He's fucking editing this thing. He's sick right now. He's got laryngitis, and he thought
Fuck.
he had cancer for like the longest time. We thought we were gonna lose him. It's funny because in our text message group, uh, me and him both have had a moment of paranoia recently where I had like a pain on my back from exercising incorrectly, but then I smoked weed one time with my friends, and then I was thinking, oh my God, that's definitely in my lungs. I definitely have cancer. And I was like that for a couple of days. And Lores at this, well, not right now, because I think he got his blood work back already. But he was going through the same thing where he had like a sore throat, and then he started thinking that, oh no, I have throat cancer. I'm gonna
The big
die.
one.
Yeah. So, you, on the other hand, were like, imagine if I'm the one that's like smoking a box of,
Chain smoking,
yeah, and
roll your own cigarettes and sucking down fucking full sugar Red Bulls 2, 3 times a day. big ass rock star and a chili dog, and my friends are like fucking dead. They're
Yeah,
like, oh, I got to take some fucking vitamins in the morning. I work out, for an hour. Fucking,
yeah.
I cut all sugar out of my diet. Dead at 36. Me, 65. Let me tell you how ideology is creeping.
Well, you are that guy, right? You are the old guy in Texas Chainsaw Massacre that tells him,
I'll
don't go that
go
way." You know,
there.
you're that guy from the town. You know, he's lived here for 120 years. I don't even know how he's still alive. You know, you know what I mean? You're the cockroach, the one that
Eight
can't
eight
die.
hundred years old in the original, but then also 800 year olds in the prequel.
Yeah, he's the only one that knows how to get out. You know, nobody else knows the place like you do. You're that
Okay,
character.
but we're talking about horror films, right?
Yeah.
Think about that character in let's say fucking Pet Cemetery, right? Fucking, sometimes dead is better. You know,
Mhm.
don't don't use that over there. Like this character that's like, hey, bad shit is gonna happen in the plot of the movie is gonna happen, guys. This fucking terrible thing. For years, you would have been if you would have seen that in anything, you'd be like, oh my god, this fucking trope again. What the hell? But modern horror has found out that the point is to make you go, so everything is a jump scare constantly, everything is a jump scare all the time, and then the other end of the spectrum is like we showed some blood, there's some bones sticking out, isn't that, whoa, isn't that scary? And it's like, motherfuckers, just give me an old guy and have him be like inside that house and then show the house, I'll be scared
Yeah.
already. That's
Yeah.
enough.
Give him an
For every
accent, give him a couple of ugly, retarded kids, so I believe that he's real,
Yeah,
and a fat
make him
wife.
make him smoke a pipe instead of a cigarette or something.
Yeah, his clothes have not been clean in years. You know, this
Yeah,
guy, that's the guy. Sure, yeah. I mean, that's definitely a trope that I don't mind, and especially, again, let's go back to fucking horror movies are like the most simple, basic shit, story, especially before this whole elevated horror genre thing came around. It was just violent movies about a disposable cast where we care about one of them, which is the one that survives at the end, and that's it. Everyone else is just disposable, a cartoon or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's just fodder for the killer to be killed in a creative way that would make you go, "Oh, look at that," But I never minded that character. Maybe it was overused in when you had those 2000 horror, when they were trying to recapture the magic of old movies without understanding what made them work. But something like this in a I just I've lost so much respect for this for this genre, and at the same time I think, should I have respected the genre to begin with? Because I like even the old movies that I still like. Uh, some of them are just like you said, just trash, like B movie trash that is fun to watch, and I think that might be my favorite type of horror movie, if you can even call it that. With when you bring modern horror movies into it, where they're a lot of the time not even fun. A
yeah.
lot of the time it just feels like, oh, fuck, just
Well, I mean,
end it.
a vintage B movie, right? A vintage B horror movie is much different than what you would consider to be a B horror movie now, uh, mainly because the horror genre is so tainted. We're talking about the Toxic Avenger as if it's a horror film, and I contend that this is the problem. This is not a horror film. Just because the original one set firmly in the horror genre because of I would say societal norms and conventions in filmmaking, those are more conventional. The things that they did then are more conventional now and don't translate to horror anymore. Just show it. Look, think about when the Nazis get mowed down in Inglorious Bastards. There is as much unsettling gore in that 30-second clip, right, as there twice as much in this entire film, because it's not presented in a way that's meant to be scary. It's
Mhm.
presented in a way that's meant for you to be like, oh yeah, it is so fucking much just an action film, like a low grade action film. And because these I hate to just keep pointing the finger, but these bloody disgusting fucking horror fans need it to be a horror fucking movie. It's a horror movie. But in practice, it is not a horror movie. It is a kind of funny action film, but all action films are also kind of funny anyways now, except for like James Bond.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of the time there's nothing, yeah, nothing scary about them. It's just it uses the tropes of jump scares or uh I don't know what. Yeah, I mean that's the most overused thing, I guess, when they're trying to make you think that you're watching a horror movie. But yeah, it's a mood more than just jumping. Like there's many horror movies where you don't even see a kill,
Uh-huh.
where it's just the atmosphere of the movie where that's creepy and unsettling enough that you
With
don't even need to
Saw, what,
see.
nobody dies in Saw, right? One dude dies in the first Saw movie. Watch that movie by yourself. Watch Saw by yourself, the first Saw movie, and tell me you aren't like 30 minutes into it unsettled as fuck. One dude dies in that motherfucker. It's not about it's a cerebral experience. Horror is what happens in you. Being scared is what happens in your brain.
And then it turns into exactly what we're talking about by like the fourth one, I think, where
Well,
it's
yeah. I
just
mean,
oh,
they jump the
okay,
shark.
so now it's just let's come up with creative ways of killing them. There's nothing creepy or scary about other than the way that those deaths are presented, I guess, which is not, it's not pleasant to watch on film, but it's
Right.
not really something that you're thinking about when you lay down in bed and think, "Oh fuck, could that happen to me? Is that ghost or that demon that I saw that kind of creeped me out in my room right now?"
Or,
No, you
um,
just think, well, as long as I'm not a piece of shit and live in that universe, I guess Jigsaw won't get me.
so that'll be fine. Well, no,
Exactly. So,
I think that first one, all these horror movies jump the fucking shark, right? Halloween jump the shark. I usually use like H2O as my example of jumping the shark, but it has my favorite kill in all of Halloween, maybe even in all of horror, while also being, I think, a great representative of the actionifying, I guess, if
right.
you fucking will, of horror films. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt gets a fucking hockey skate right in his head, like boom, and he's like dead with the hockey skate. That's such a good kill. I love that fucking kill. But I understand that I wasn't supposed to be scared by it. And
Right.
instead I was supposed to be like, yeah. And that's all these other fucking if the horror movie isn't trying to jump scare me, it just wants me to be like, whoa, yeah, cool, that fucking happened. I think Weapons is the only time in a fucking decade probably that I felt unsettled by things. There were things in Weapons that were unsettling amongst the first watch, right? Comparatively, you're not even supposed to be unsettled by anything that happens in Toxic Avenger. You're supposed
Mhm.
to like all of it. Even the what if Limp Bizkit and ICP was a band together band, they're fine. Like they're like, yeah, they're bad guys or whatever. They look kind of okay. They die and you're like, oh, okay, cool, cool. Yeah, they're not even so disgusting and bad to be worse than the slutty girl in the beginning of the original Toxic Avenger. She's worse. She's like,
Yeah.
you should run over babies and shit. You should kill a fucking
Yeah.
baby with your car, dude. This whole band of guys are supposed to be the like evil killer guys, and they're just kind of cool. That's fine. It's like, what if Limp Bizkit and ICB was a band?
Yeah,
Okay.
well, what is that called? Mushroom Head, right? That was
Oh yeah,
Mushroom
yeah, 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 yeah. It's Mudvayne.
Yeah, it's a movie for dorks to feel cool, because it does have all those moments when you're like, I think this is supposed to make me go, hell yeah, look at this thing. Oh, nice, and
Nice.
yeah, I don't think that's what I think a horror movie. Yeah, fuck.
Nice.
When you put it that way, there's so many of this modern day horror. Like I'm thinking mostly low budget. Like I always go back to fucking Christmas, Bloody Christmas. I don't know if you've ever seen the robot Santa Claus movie and that
So.
big piece of shit. Where it's a lot of just hell yeah moments. If I'm I'm wearing all denim with my metal band t-shirt, sitting here uncomfortably in my own couch, but I look cool even though I'm uncomfortable. I'm gonna watch this movie where I'm just gonna go hell yeah,
Hell
that's
yeah.
oh that's
Imagine.
so cool, hell yeah. But it's not a horror movie,
Oh
It's not.
God.
There's nothing creepy about it. There's nothing. There's no atmosphere with it where you're unsettled at any point. The only reason why it feels like a horror movie is because it throws uh, loud sounds or like an impactful image, throw it at you when you're not expecting it. That's not scary. That's just a regular reaction that you would
Yeah.
have if someone around the corner from when you're walking jumps at you. Oh, fuck, I'm
Oh my
scared.
gosh.
I'm gonna jump. That doesn't mean that I'm terrified and I'm shitting myself thinking if, I'm gonna die. No, it's just a reaction that you get when, something loud or something that's thrown at you when you're not expecting it happens. But I don't think they should be even considered horror. And maybe that's why I'm so disillusioned with the genre, because there's so many movies that are not even trying to be horror, and they're trying to be, yeah, let's all these horror dorks to feel identified with what we're putting on screen. And
Hmm.
I mean, you can do that. That's fine. But it's to the, I think, deterioration of the genre. But at the same time, I think you can go to any time of movie history and you'll find a lot of trash horror movies and you'll find a couple of decent ones. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
I mean,
it's
look, we would say like fucking Alien, Halloween, Friday the 13th, and Nightmare on Elm Street. Those are like the main horror films, right? Like the biggest horror films, pretty much like of all time. Maybe Terminator, if you want to consider Terminator a horror film, you can have that conversation. Like the
Texas
biggest horror
Chainsaw.
films of all time. That's like five movies over the course of, a decade, damn near.
Yeah.
Inside that same decade is every single bad horror movie you've ever seen. So the bad in any genre always outweigh the good. But I don't think that you have a more consensus. You won't find a bigger consensus amongst the fan base for the necessity of viewing of a lot of these shittier, like shitty action movies, right? Fucking okay, I'm gonna say Broken Arrow, right? There's not a
Yeah.
cult following of Broken Arrow fans that like think that this is a must watch. It is so bad and good at the same time. There's all these. If you watch Broken Arrow, it's literally just for a meme, not because you're an actual massive fan of Broken Arrow. People watch shitty horror movies because they're fans of shitty horror movies. That's their thing. They're big fans of it. Almost like and they don't hold the position that I know it's bad. They're holding the position with this is alternative art and subsequently good. And
And
it's
that's
not. Sometimes they're just inherently bad films. It's completely fine for a film to be bad and you still enjoy it. You don't have to
yeah.
pretend it's good. And I think the Toxic Avenger whole all of Trauma, with the exception of maybe Tromeo and Juliet, which is
Mhm.
also very bad, but I think that specific quote unquote genre hurts the most from it because the DIY filmmaking could be applied to make actually good content, but these people are so satisfied with the mid fucking shit, the intentional overacting, the needless oversaturation of like swear words or debauchery or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
They're fine. They're so fine with it. You can just keep pumping it out and giving it to them with no respect to their intellect at all, right? No respect to their actual fucking time that they might spend on it. Imagine you're watching, I don't know, Nosferatu, right? And fucking towards the end of Nosferatu, instead of fucking dying from the sun, right? Instead of him getting fucking tricked into having sex until the sun fucking burns him up and kills him, he lays down, and then she gets on top and she goes, now suck this, and drives a stake through his fucking. Imagine you watch that whole movie, everything is exactly the same, but at the end, she goes, now suck this, and then kills it as a one liner. That is what you're expected to be experiencing when you watch the Toxic Avenger. That you just watch some serious thing, and then the one-liners that they really cared about this movie, and then here's the one-liner. Oh, you fucking nailed it. They even have that meta joke a bunch of times, like, "Oh, now that's a good one-liner." Brother, you're not making a commentary on filmmaking, right? What the fuck are you showing me right now? What are you putting in my eyes, my man?
Yeah, the commentary that you're making is not the commentary that you think you're making.
Yo, you are doing this. Is the
Yeah.
they're like it's like Sam Hyde being like, no, I'm ironically like this, but no, like you're like this all the time. You're you're not being ironically unserious. You genuinely are unserious. You think that I'm in on the joke. I'm actually thinking, oh my god, you guys fucking suck. What's wrong with you?
Yeah, and that's another thing too, that that decade that of all of these horror icons that we had, I think, like, I wonder what the genre would be if those icons didn't exist. And I'm saying this mostly because e even if you look at the best one of those icons, which I guess you could say it's maybe Freddy has maybe the most number of hits, or Halloween maybe, because there's so many that you can find three or four that are decent to watch. But I feel like for at least all of those horror movie icons, and less extended up to what's the horny one with the box from the 90s, with
Horny one with the box from the 90s is very
you know,
descriptive for a film.
the horny, the bald guy that's evil with Pinhead,
Oh,
Pinhead.
Hellraiser, Hellraiser.
Hellraiser. Let's
Okay,
just
you know
stretch
what?
that to
Actually,
Hellraiser, because
that's
yeah.
actually the super accurate description of the Hellraiser series. The horny movies with the box and the bald guy. Oh,
I'm
actually, you're
missing
right.
leathers and weird nipples, I guess.
You're
I
right.
think that's where I would have gotten with that. But even if you stretch it to cover that, let's say, or because I'm trying to think of a modern day trilogy that has nothing to do with past icons, and the only one I can think of
There's
is
no
like
trilogies.
Hatchet, which is a low budget new monster that was created by Adam. Fuck, I can't even remember his name, but
Was that
that
the one
was.
with Kane? Wasn't that with Kane from the WWE?
No, that was See No Evil or something. I think that Hatchet. I think it was one of the
Oh my
Jasons.
god.
Yeah, Victor. He made like five of those movies.
Oh my god.
I think the first couple are okay. That's all I didn't see the rest. But they're in Louisiana, so they have that
Gotcha.
pond, like that swamp thing to it. So the first one's fine. I think I have that on DVD somewhere. But I can't think of any other, let's say, trilogy of an icon like that's come out in modern day. But I feel like all of those horror movie icons are held, and it's the mainstreamification of horror is what has kept those icons alive, I think, because merchandising, which is what your point was, merchandising of horror icons, where you get Freddy Krueger, who's supposed to be a pedophile, right? Or
Yeah, 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 yeah,
maybe
yeah.
maybe not
Yeah, yeah,
not
yeah.
not
No, he is.
explicitly, but
He
there's a
is.
hint there.
He straight up says that what his plan was when he was dealing with kids in the first movie. He's a pedo.
Yeah, and now you have a cute little Freddy plushie on your bed with you because you like horror. You know what I mean? You have a little leather
Well,
face who.
it gets so removed, right? And that happens. Look at what James Cameron did with Terminator, right? It does go from a horror film to an outright action, right?
Yeah.
It goes from this fucking scary robot from the future is trying to kill this fucking kid. What the hell? To just like my arms turn to fucking liquid swords. You're blow. He's driving the truck in the fucking LA River
Yeah.
and it's getting all fucking boom. And he pops back up and he's like, I'm fine, motherfucker. And you're like, this guy's crazy. It legit goes from the scariest guy you've ever seen in your life to, oh my God, this is a lot of stuff happening on screen in one film, right?
Yeah.
And
It's
even
and that movie was fucking I mean I saw it when I was like 13 or 12 or whatever, but that shit was scary. Just knowing
yeah.
that the guy is just gonna keep coming back, he's just gonna keep going. You can't stop him. As opposed to, oh my God, is that Terminator? She's hot. I wouldn't mind if she killed me. I wouldn't mind
Damn,
if she,
okay.
oh, okay, all right.
You're gonna blow we're gonna live together in a bunker and you're gonna blow up the rest of the world. Oh no. Oh fuck, that sucks. Oh darn.
Ah, that sounds horrific. No, what?
I hope that doesn't happen to me. Well,
Yeah.
in general, I think that action obviously was the big the big needle mover for these studios, right? Action movies, they just made all the fucking money in the world. And you can make anything that you could make an action film where you take, if you have a comedy premise, right? You take fucking two friend cops and one of them's from China. Let's send them to China, judge it up with some action. Not to say anything bad about Rush Hour, but judge it up with some action, right? And now you have your blockbuster hit. If
Mm,
you just had it be a buddy comedy cop movie, it probably doesn't move the same. Same thing with Bad Boys. Could be a buddy like comedy movie. Make sure some shit explodes. That fucking shit sells. And if you're making anything else at the same time, you're thinking, "Fuck, dude, I gotta make goddamn money too." Now my movie now my movie's got to be fucking actiony. Look at what happened to the superhero realm, right?
mhm.
Christopher Nolan made one wacky, silly Batman movie and then was like, "Nope, Chicago. You know what? Fuck Gotham City, Chicago." And then for the rest of time now, all the superhero movies just happen in the real world. They don't happen
Yeah.
in this fantasy world. They all happen in the real world. The he made so much fucking money just by putting Batman in a normal city that the whole rest of the genre, you'll never get another X-Men like the original three X-Men from the 2000s, the early 2000s. You'll never get that wacky, silly bullshit ever again. For the rest of time, it will always be so rooted in the real fucking world. And horror has just completely been ruined by these two ideas of if I can't scare you, I
Yeah.
gotta make you go, hey, nice.
Yeah. The hell yeah-ification of horror. This
Yeah.
has ruined the genre. And I mean, you still get, the rare
Hereditary,
one or two. Yeah, one or two,
which
when you get the right type of autism for the director, and then you're like, oh fuck, okay, this works. I'm interested in this. But you have to swift through a lot of trash. And I wonder if the reason why the blockbuster is pretty much dead, right? It's because we overcomplicated the blockbuster. Like I feel like the blockbuster was always a very simple movie to attract everyone, right? As soon as we started overcomplicating those things, you start losing all those Mexicans that go to your superhero movies, and now they're not making as much as they used to before. Like I
yeah,
think
yeah.
they, the even the way that they've changed superhero movies from what they were when they started. Like, if you can't get a Mexican to wear your Inhumans t-shirt or whatever that last movie was,
Yeah,
that means that there's
it's
no
bad.
one, like
Yeah,
no
it's
one's going to
nobody's
like
into
this shit.
this.
Yeah, and if they're
True.
not wearing their bootleg, I made it myself shirt where it's just like an old
Mhm.
print. I don't know if you've seen those that are like a full old
Yeah,
print, and the
get
shirt
it
is
at the
like
flea market.
a horrible fucking fabric that's just very stiff, and you're just
Stiff.
sticky and just awful. But it's cheaper than buying the real merch. If your movie cannot get Mexicans to do that, then it's really for no one. And I think that's the biggest issue with block, or the reason why movies don't make that much money anymore, especially those big ones that are supposed to be making that amount of money, is that we've overcomplicated them with things that don't really matter just to make them appeal to, I guess, modern day people that don't even go see those movies. Like I feel like the
Yeah.
movie industry has forgotten about regular people who just want to be entertained, the same people that watch 15 seasons of The Big Bang Theory and they don't care if it's shitty just because it's there and it's easy to digest and fine, you know. We've lost that, and I think blockbusters used to be targeted to them. And I mean, I'll include myself in them because I used to go see those big blockbuster, this is a movie that you need to see in the theater.
Yeah.
I now you get maybe one or two movies that you're like, oh well, fuck, I have to see this in the theater because it's and a lot of the time it's not even because it's good, but a lot of time you're just like this Tron movie that's coming out, right? It's gonna be bad. I know for a fact that it's gonna be shit,
Mhm.
but I'm kind of like, well, maybe I'll go see it on IMAX so that I at least get a movie theater experience from this movie that I know visually will be cool. I know
Yeah.
the story will be trash, and I'm not gonna be invested in it. And if I see it in my TV at home, I'm just gonna hate this shit, you know. So at least I'll get something out of it. But I think the overcomplication of those movies that used to be very simple. Like you said, what was fucking Rush Hour? Hey, a black guy and a Chinese guy, and they work together. They don't get along because they don't know each other, and let's just do stereotypes. Cool. That's it.
That's
How
enough.
fucking
That's fine.
here's 5 bags of money for all of them.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
made so much fucking money, and
Yeah.
and now you don't even get those attempts at comedy anymore because they end up becoming so sensitive that they end up being for no one, right? And whenever you get a movie like a Danny McBride movie where it takes some risks and makes some jokes that most movies maybe won't do, it's not going to be mainstream appealing to mainstream anymore because people have changed so much, right? But I think I kind of wish we went back to studios caring about the regular people again so that we could
Yeah.
go back to, sure, they're not the greatest movies. If you go back to um Transformers 1. I don't know why I
Okay.
couldn't think of anything else. It's not the greatest movie, but you'll have
Yeah,
fun.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
very
yeah, yeah, yeah.
stupid. It's very dumb. But it's got some visuals and a hot girl, and that. What else do you want in your movie, right? Uh,
You want to see that on the big screen. Like I think Transformers is a great example of it because there's so much, 3D production that goes into the action that you're seeing that having a lot of it on screen, right, lets you see very obviously a lot of it, right? If you're watching anything else just like a regular comedy film or a drama or something, you don't really need to see it. Like you need to
yeah.
see everything on screen, but there's not meticulous detail being put into every single thing going on. With blockbusters, they've almost always been like action films,
Hmm.
and or the horror films that pass as action films as a secondary. But I think that, and I'm not saying anything bad about these films. I think that films like Lord of the Rings and Pirates of the Caribbean put so much of an emphasis on the expectation of like a big grand display from anything that goes into theaters because like all of those films are fucking insane to see in theaters, right? There's
Hmm.
so much fucking going on the screen. There's so many actors, there's so many like landscapes and shots that are intentionally supposed to be like fucking, yeah, you're supposed to be awestruck by them, and there's props and all this other shit. Those films were a cinematic experience in the theater, right?
Yeah.
Independent of what you might see at home, in the theater they're big and huge. And I think it's more on us as the audience for pretty much giving up on having a few of those a year and
Hmm.
instead turning that into like that's just all the time, right? How many over the top action films come out a year at this point, that if it was just like one or two of these films, they would probably be huge in 2005. But in 2025, half of what you're seeing is actually just another action film with just another explosion. where Toxic Avenger has two explosions in it, but nonetheless, like it's still
Oh,
poisoned by the same fucking poison, right?
all right. We were talking about Toxic Avenger. I forgot
The whole
that
time.
that
No,
was,
I'm
but
still I've
yeah,
I've I've still been talking about how this film is an action film and not a horror film. And I've just been using all of this airtime to justify that claim. Is that this isn't a horror film at all and only does action film stuff. And then I bitched about the nature of action films. That this fits it, so we're good. No, I saved the show. I saved the
yeah.
show. No.
Well, I think there's definitely an issue with oversaturation where you don't know what's quality and what's not, and what you should watch and what you should ignore. And I think a movie I should definitely watch if you're listening to this and you live in the Philadelphia area is Mass State Lottery that's going to be playing on the 30th of this month. And I think our friend LowRes, if he doesn't die from this fake cancer that he doesn't have,
He might.
will be there. Thursday, October 30th at 8:30 p.m. So just go to mslfilm.com and get your tickets there. I think I don't know if he's having a Q and
Well, you can catch. He said to us, he said that he likes when people they come up, they stand like in front of the door, they don't let him leave, and they ask him questions, about like his personal life,
Yep.
about what it was like growing up in Boston. He said that he would prefer people at this showing not even asking about the movie, but just asking deeply personal, intimate
Yep.
questions. Like
Yeah.
stand in, don't let him out of the building. Like stand in front of the door. And this is what he said. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, stand in front of the door. Don't let him leave, and just ask him the most personal stuff you've ever asked anybody in your life. That's what he said he
Yeah.
wants.
Also, the other directions that he gave was that if he has people in between you and them, because he's not shielding himself with other people. He's not
He would
not
never.
he, that doesn't never do that. Or
It's not a
or if you
slinger.
see or if you see that he looks busy, like he's doing something, he's not pretending that he's busy just so that people don't approach him. He's definitely a people person. You should avoid everyone else that's in the way and just go directly to him and shake his hand and talk to him
Mhm.
and invite him for a slice of pizza or whatever the fuck you eat in Philadelphia there.
Anybody that
Because
says, "Hey, get up, get away," don't
yeah,
even listen to him. Don't even
yeah.
bother.
I mean, it's probably just gonna be MLH anyway, so you can just you can just push him because I'm sure he'll be there at Philly, right? So you'll
You
get to
push
meet
MLH and he
MLH.
just falls right on his butt. He doesn't matter what side you push MLH on, he just falls right on his butt with his legs up.
But yeah, Mass State Lottery, 30th of October in Philadelphia. Go mslfilm.com. And I think on that note, Jerry, we're gonna end this episode. Hopefully there's enough time. There should be enough time for it. And maybe next time Loris will let me use his account so that we don't have to cut the episode in half.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, where do you want to drive people to?
You can follow my Twitter X at I'm Bloom Online. Mostly just where I reshare things that LowRes and Hans have already shared. So it'll just be it'll follow me Twitter X at I'm Bloom Online, and I'll pollute your feed with literally the same shit that they're maybe not the same shit maybe not the same shit that Hans says on Twitter, but you'll get the same shit.
Uh, yeah, go on Bloom Online on Twitter
That's it.
and yeah, this how does he end the episode? I'm on every episode and I don't remember.
He's
Oh,
done it all.
this
Goodbye.
this has been movies. Thank you for listening.